7 o'clock, Monday, February 4th, 2019. I'll call the regular meeting of the Waverly City Council to order. Roll call, please.
Bergen. Here. Drinkow.
Here.
Kangas.
Here.
McKenzie.
Here.
Rothy. Here. Scherer.
Present.
And Waldstein is absent.
If you would all rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made to approve the agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Agenda is approved as presented. We now have a guest councilperson by the name of Jess Kettleson. Jess, would you introduce yourself and say a few words of whatever you'd like us to know about you?
Okay. Probably nothing, but that's okay. It's a little scary. My name is Jess Kettleson, like you said. My husband, Eric, and my daughter, Aya, and I have lived here in Waverly for about the last 6 or 7 years. We own a business here in town called Catalyst Yoga. And we also live right above the studio, too. So we are downtown, not only business owners, but homeowners, too. I work at Century 21 Real Estate. I also work at Real Clear Settlement. I'm their director of closing there. And my husband works at the hospital as their IT manager. So we love living here in Waverly.
Well, welcome to the council. And
Thank you.
you have all the rights to take part in discussions. The only thing that you may not do is vote.
Sounds good.
We'll look forward to your participation and go from there. So, next item is a public hearing. This is the date, time, and place for a public hearing on a resolution instituting proceedings to take an additional action for the authorization of a loan and disbursement agreement and the issuance of not to exceed $780,000 sewer revenue capital loan notes. Mayor and council will entertain any comments. I will open the public hearing. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Entertain a motion by the council.
I'll move approval of Resolution 19-12, approving a resolution instituting proceedings to take additional action for the authorization of a loan and disbursement agreement and the issuance of not to exceed $780,000 sewer revenue capital loan notes.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Procedure correction. Carla, did you have any written comments on this?
You did not, Your Honor.
Very good, thank you. Council discussion. Just to fill us in, that is for work to engineering and things for the wastewater treatment plant, is that correct?
Yes, sir. It's planning and design for the upgrades to the wastewater facility, and it'll be about a $9 million project. This is to get it started with the planning, design, engineering. 0% interest until we take the loan out for the debt, and then the interest would be whatever that debt loan comes to be. So,
Very good, thank you.
yes, sir.
Any other council discussion, questions? Roll call vote, please.
Bergen.
Yes.
Drinkow.
Yes.
Kangas.
Yes.
McKenzie.
Yes.
Rothy. Yes. Scherer.
Yes.
Resolution 19-12 approved, 6-0, 1 absent. Any public comments for items not on the agenda?
Where would you like me to stand?
Right, it's right there, ma'am.
Thank you. I wrote some notes on my phone. My name is Karen Thalacker, and I work downtown. My office has been in downtown Waverly for over 10 years, and so I would say multiple times every day I am back and forth on Bremer Avenue. And so I'm here to talk to you about the 3-lane road decision. When you were debating this, I really didn't have much of an opinion about it, pro or con. I trusted you to go through the research and talk to each other and talk to the experts. I'm not an engineer. I'm not an expert on traffic flow. And so I trusted you to make the right decision. So now after several months, I think, of having the 3-lane road and seeing it in all different times of day and also weather conditions. I want you to know I really like it. Okay? And so I'm thanking you for doing it. I express to people that I am surprised almost every day about how easy it is for me to get from one side of town to the other. And it wasn't always that way. And again, I'm not an engineer or a traffic flow expert, but I would anticipate that it has something to do with dedicated turning lanes. I will also say, again, this is my opinion, but I'm not the only one who holds this opinion, and other people have expressed this opinion to me as well. Just a story from last week, we had someone come into our office who is not from Waverly, but is very familiar with Waverly and comes here often, and completely brought it up on their own and said, wow, it's so much easier to get around in Waverly now. It was so much easier to get to your office. So again, it's not just me, it was somebody who came into the office and expressed that. So again, that's my opinion, that's my experience, and thanks for listening to it.
Very welcome. We appreciate your comments very much, Karen. It's refreshing to hear the positive side of what's going on by far. So, no, again, thank you for your comments and your experiences. Next item is the consent calendar. The following items will be acted on a single motion. Pay request from VJ Engineering for the water main replacement 2019, 3rd Avenue Northeast and CUNA Mutual for $12,918. Pay request from VJ Engineering for the Cedar Lane reconstruction 2019 for $2,187.50. Pay request from Benchmark Agribusiness Incorporated for the Waverly Municipal Land Acquisition 2012 for $850. I'd entertain a motion.
I would move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any council discussion?
I just have a question of clarification. I probably could have found this out by talking to Dan sitting next to me, but the reference in the first pay request to CUNA Mutual, are we talking about this side of the river? I'm not talking about...
No, sir, it's on the west side.
West side.
Water main loop that we've talked about having to encompass over there.
Okay, thank you.
They fit in, part of the water main ended up under their solar array out there, so it needs to be dealt with.
Now, I remember now. Thank you.
Very good. Any other comments, questions? Entertain a motion. It's already been moved. I'm sorry. All those in favor of the consent calendar say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Consent calendar is approved, 601 absent. Regular business, Resolution 1913, a resolution conditionally approving a proposed development agreement with Movie Guys LLC for tax rebates of TIF revenues from incremental commercial property based upon redevelopment of the property at 88 and 90 East Bremer Avenue in part for commercial public theaters. Entertain a motion.
I will move approval of Resolution 1913, conditionally approving a proposed development agreement with Movie Guys LLC for tax rebates of TIF revenues from incremental commercial property based on redevelopment of the property at 88 and 90 East Bremer Avenue, in part for commercial public theaters, with a total property tax rebate of not to exceed $300,000.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Council discussion. Bill, do you have anything to add to this?
We did it pretty broad here. This is a conditional approval because the development agreement will be done once the TIF is done, and we can actually have the property in, and we can go ahead and get the development agreement itself approved. But the investors, the developers, wanted to have a clear message from the council as to whether they're approving this kind of an incentive. What we talked about was a $20,000 rebate each year over 15 years. But we determined that maybe in the early years, the commercial increment would not be as much as $20,000. So what we really did was to say we do the actual calculated rebate every year and not to exceed $20,000, but it may go 16 or 17 years to get the full 300,000. And it would max out each year at 20 and max out totally at 300,000. We also put in a provision, and we've been working on the development agreement with our attorneys in Des Moines, but we put in that they had to have had the theaters open during the previous year to earn the tax rebate, because this was considered to be a rebate that would allow them to help cash flow the theaters that sometimes struggle with that tax flow. So, cash flow.
So in here, there's the statement that the developers must operate the theater on a full-time basis during the year to be entitled to the yearly rebate. I assume that's what you mean by they have to be open the previous year. That phrase, open on a full-time basis, what does that mean?
We're working on the definition.
Okay.
We had talked about at least 5 days a week, and maybe 6 days. We're going to work at what their business model is, but
Okay.
we just want to make sure it isn't open once a week or twice a week. I think probably 5 is the minimum I would look at.
I mean, you could also do something where, like, at least 7 showings per week.
Right.
So if there are some days they have more and some days they're closed, but they could do one a week, one every day, or they could do like 2 on Thursday, like Fridays and Saturdays or something. But
Since they're having 2 theaters, it'll be easier to get 2 different showings. So we didn't want to put something that was too much, but we really wanted to talk to them about that. But when we get to the development agreement, we'll have more specifics about that. It really would, I think we had started with 5 days a week with 2 showings each night or each day minimum, and I think that would be a pretty full-time theater for most theaters that we look at in smaller communities. They probably will exceed that, especially from the start.
So do you think more specific language about having that theater open before can be put in the next agreement? Because it doesn't really say that.
It will be in the development agreement.
Okay.
Right. We intend the development agreement to be very inclusive, all-inclusive, so it isn't leaving any question.
And that will be brought back to us for review and approval?
Yes, it'll probably be brought back in about 2 months.
Are you going to have Economic Development Commission review it
Yes,
first and then?
They've actually given the same, they've reviewed this particular proposal, the general proposal, and they'll do the same with the development agreement.
So, Bill, does this group have a calendar by which they hope to be launching?
And no, this is going to be a lot like the old CUNA building, which is going to take a lot of work to clean it out and get it ready to be developed. They want to get started. They're looking at some other historic tax credits too, I think. And so it's trying to get the ducks in a row. I know they have a architectural firm working on plannings. So we can expect them to start work this year. It'll probably take a full year to get things going.
And I want to point out that we're simply not talking about giving them $20,000 a year in city funds. What we're talking about is rebating to them the extra taxes that we get because the value of the building is going to be much greater after they have finished their renovations of it. So we're just basically returning to them some of that tax that is being taxed, that is being assessed on the increase in value
That's correct.
that they're putting into the building.
That's correct.
Knowing that most historic tax credit type programs ask for some type of local match, taking this action now, will that be able to be considered that local match? Or?
Yes. What we commit to will be considered a local match for any of those programs that require that.
I suppose I want to say I'm pleased and excited about this. I like the idea of getting that movie theater back. I'm thinking about the Cobblestone Inn and the development agreement we had there, and how we had that 9 full-time employees written in the language, and it turns out that okay, maybe 8 was the right number. They didn't quite meet that, but at the same time, we were supporting that because we wanted a hotel downtown, not because we wanted 9 housekeeping jobs or whatnot. I think in the same way, when we put that development agreement together here, we want to make sure that we're asking for the right things. We want a movie theater downtown that's open and active. We need to make sure that, whatever agreement we come to supports that. But I definitely want to say I'm very much in favor of getting our movie theater back.
I was discussing with the attorneys from Des Moines about the requirement of jobs. They always like to put job requirements. And I think you're right. I don't think that's fair to do that with regards to a theater because you don't know how much it's really going to take. And the biggest thing that we want is it open a lot.
Right.
And so, and operating and working. So they'll need so many people to do that. It won't be that many. It could be that if they work with the restaurant and serve that way, there could be some cross things. So we're probably going to go away from requiring a certain number of people for the theater portion and just require the full-time operation.
So long as we're clear on the definition of full-time operation.
Right.
Well, and I think I've talked to certain business owners downtown who've noticed certain days of the week are definitely a little bit slower because the theater pulled people in, especially, there's a few businesses open on Sundays that saw some foot traffic from people going to the matinee Sunday. So, that's something else to think about when you're deciding what days it should be open and when it should.
Right, so which days have
Yeah.
a good economic impact
Yeah.
on downtown,
Yeah.
and certainly encouraging the movie theater to be open those days.
I think they'll want to be open if they can get people to come down, so that there'll be different things they can do on different days with specials and things, so.
Any other comments? Roll call vote, please.
Trinko.
Yes.
Angus.
Yes.
McKenzie.
Yes.
Rafi.
Yes.
Sher.
Yes.
Bergen.
Yes.
Resolution 19-13, approving a development agreement with Movie Guys LLC is approved, 6-0, 1 absent. Item number 2, Resolution 1914, a resolution fixing an amount to be assessed against private property for the Bremer Avenue Water Main and Service Line Improvement Project 2018 stages and directing the engineer to file an assessment schedule with the city. Would entertain a motion.
I move approval of Resolution 19-14 as read by the mayor.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Council discussion. Input, please.
Okay. This first resolution is actually just fixing the amount in case there's people that want to come forward or something, question the amounts that are set. And then we'll have you approve the actual assessment next month. So it's a kind of a 30-day check-over period. People can look at their addresses and look at their amounts, and if they have questions, they can come see us. This is the same thing we did in the first year, the first assessments that we did last year. And we do bill people after this so that they can have an opportunity to pay once the assessment is made. And quite a few people do that, pay ahead, just pay up front, so that it's not assessed on their property tax statements. And some people do the assessments, and that works out fine for them. So actually, the numbers are about the same as last year, fairly similar to the amount. So it was a pretty good split between the 2 years.
And Bill, what kind of communication have you had with the property owners about these numbers to this point, and what will happen in the next 30 days? Do they get a mailing about this, or?
Yes. Just thinking about that, we probably should send out our invoices prior to the next meeting so they can see.
Yeah.
And that may be just the way to do it. So we may just
In case they're not
accelerate.
watching tonight.
It's an easy process to do. We have everybody set up for mailings, and so we can do that. So what we may do is go ahead and set it up so if somebody comes in and questions it before it's assessed, we can, or before it's set by the council. If they point out mistakes, we'll make corrections anyway. I mean, even if you agree to a certain assessment, but we agree it was done wrong, when we look back and look at the numbers, we would adjust that. It's just at the staff level. We can do
So
that.
if you received this and were told this is what you owe, how would you know that it was an error?
Because they were sent out,
They got a preliminary?
the paperwork that
Okay.
went out was very specific, and it itemized every part of the calculation.
Okay.
And so most of those questions we got from those people came at that time, if they had questions about why they were being assessed for certain things. And it's a combination of how many feet and how wide and they did pay for some concrete replacement, although it wasn't really to put in the sidewalk, it was what would happen if they had to put in new lines. So for the people that did voluntary lines from the curb stop into the building, they know what their assessment's going to be because they calculated that and determined that they wanted to do that.
Okay.
It went very smoothly this year because I think people understood what we were doing. And most of them had heard good things, I think, from the year before as far as getting it done and making sure it was, we don't have any deficient services going from the main to into the buildings.
Any other council questions, discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Angus.
Yes.
McKenzie.
Yes.
Rafi.
Yes.
Scher.
Yes.
Bergen.
Yes.
Drinkow.
Yes.
Resolution 1914 carried 6-0, one absent. Resolution is for private assessments for water mains for the Bremer Avenue reconstruction project. Item 3, third and final reading of ordinance 1055, an ordinance amending section 84.1, obstructions prohibited, and section 84.2, obstructions awnings of the Waverly Municipal Code. Would entertain a motion.
I'll move approval of third and final reading of ordinance 1055, an ordinance amending section 84.1, obstructions prohibited, and section 84.2, obstructions awnings of the Waverly Municipal Code.
Second.
Motion made and seconded for resolution, or ordinance 1055. Council discussion.
I'd like to ask if anyone has heard any significant feedback on this. So I've asked a few people, but haven't really gotten any sort of feedback, positive or negative. Has anyone else heard people talking about this, what they like or don't like, or
No.
problems with it?
And this looks the same as the one we saw last time, correct?
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
other changes?
No changes. I didn't have any responses either, so we didn't have any question. No.
Very good. Roll call vote, please.
McKenzie.
Yes.
Rafi.
Yes.
Scher.
Yes.
Bergen.
Yes.
Drinkow.
Yes.
Angus.
Yes.
Third and final reading of ordinance 1055, dealing with obstructions and awnings, Waverly Municipal Code, carried 6-0, one absent. Reports from boards and commissions. Board of Adjustment Commission minutes from December 10th, 2018. Received in the record. Staff comments.
Just a reminder, if you are still fired up from the budget meeting this Saturday, the Candlelight Ski event is from 5 to 7 p.m. on the rail trail, and we're going to have hot cocoa from Nestle's at the end. And obviously, we don't know if it's a ski or a walk or a skate
Slide.
or a slide or whatever. But we'll determine that. The weather looks reasonable for Saturday with just a little bit of snow, but the temperature looks like it might be pretty good. So everybody's welcome for that. It doesn't cost a thing.
Any other staff comments?
I don't believe so, sir.
Very good. City Council comments.
Well, speaking of the rail trail, I skied it on Saturday. I had the place to myself, but the snow was pretty good. And then Sunday it was not so good by then. I skied, cross-country skied it, so it was good.
I would like to thank all of the city workers and private workers who have been out in the cold weather that we've been having recently. I'm so very thankful that I have a job where I'm forced to work inside. Not really tempted to go out and hold my class outside in this weather. So I want to thank all those people who are out dealing with the elements. Thank you for all the hard work you do. And once again, I want to invite anyone who wants to join me for a beer after the city council meeting. I will be at the Wooden Foot tonight.
Good.
I don't have a comment so much as a question for Bill, and it's just a matter of curiosity. I keep driving down 4th Street past the intersection where the new building stands just north of McDonald's. And it's a good-looking building, and it's been finished for a while, and it looks empty. And what are the plans for that building? Can you tell us?
It's going to be a medical office of some kind, and it's going to be, I guess, open when they get a chance to do it. Don't know any more about it.
Okay. Thanks.
Jess, do you have anything you'd like to
You guys left it pretty easy for me. Thank you, I appreciate that.
Very good.
All month long, you can keep it that way.
All right, we'll try, certainly try.
So you can come on Saturday for the budget.
I think I'm busy.
Any other council comments?
Maybe we should tell Jess that not all of our meetings are 25 minutes long.
But if you need to, you can come to yoga afterwards. How about that? A council yoga session.
I would just like to reiterate Brian's comments about the city workers. I had a chance to visit with Darrell Anderson, I think Saturday, maybe, and from the water department, and they had a dual break on the same line at Orchard Court. They repaired Thursday, and said they still had to go back because it had washed a cavern out around the gas line that went through that same area. And so I don't know if they got it fixed or not, but it's on the agenda. But no, I think they did. This Public Works people did a good job with snow removal and taking care of the streets. Carla, I do have one question. What's our schedule for Saturday for the budget meeting?
Okay, so breakfast at 8, the meeting starts at 8:30, and we hope to be done before noon.
Very good.
Sounds like a plan.
That's up to council.
Oh, sure, blame us.
As much you want to talk and ask questions, that'll determine how fast you get out of here.
Other comments? I'd entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
We're adjourned.